have done important messages in the course of this year, but this message can save you from sinking into depression, messing up with your relationships, health, and even with your business. Let's face it, if you underwork, you will lag behind your bills. If you overwork, you will suffer burnout, and your own family goals and health goals will give in. And so this is a delicate balance, and very few people take the risk to say where the balance is. I'm going to take a risk. This is not something I have read in any book. This is not even researched. This is it's just my hypothesis. And it's something I've been working on, and I actually want to write an academic paper on 8 one day, God willing, and perhaps convert it into a book. My proposal is what I call the 888 rule. 888. 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of family and leisure. That's my proposal. One of the things I have found, there are so many people when they're at work, they are not working. They may be spending 12 hours, but they are literally not productive for 12 hours. One reason, they scatter their efforts. They have 3, 4, 5 things they are trying to do. They are moving from one place to another, running up and about, and they have a lot of things in between during the day that they are trying to do. So they may be in the office or at work for 12 hours, but they were not productive for 12 hours. So my 888, as I said, it's not a rule I have read in any book. I have not researched on it. It's a hypothesis I have proposed. And I actually am working on an academic paper. God willing, I want to convert it into a book because I believe this is a life-changing book. The 888 rule that I'm proposing must be intentional. It is not something you do by feelings. I believe if any of these areas collapse, that particular area collapses. For example, if you're spending 14 hours in your place of work or in business, whether you're conscious or not, your family goals are going haywire and your health goals. If again you're working for 5 hours, you're definitely lagging behind your bills, or even if you're not lagging behind your bills, you're still not maximizing your potential. So basically, if I look at this topic, it's a question of not just the balance, but how do we make business part of life, not business and life, not work and life competing. Because then the big question is, if you make all the money and you lose your kids, if you make all the money and you lose your family, if you make all the money and you lose your health, does it make any sense? And that's the balance we want to look at today. So I want to engage you as I've done before, and because we've got to ask ourselves, why are we working? What's the motivation behind it? What do we want to achieve with our work? What do we want out of this life? So I'm going to approach this topic in a very simple way. What I'm calling focus here is basically the objectives of this seminar. So I'm going to cover 3 things. The first one, I'm going to deal with the effects of poor work-life balance. Number 2, changes you can make at work, practical changes. And number 3, changes you can make at home, practical changes that you can make at home. Question number 1. Okay. I have little interest or pleasure in doing things. I have little interest or pleasure in doing things. It takes me great effort to do simple things. It takes me great effort to do simple things. If you say this never happens to you, not at all, score question 1. If this happens 1 to 2 days a week, give that question a score of 2. If this happens 3 to 4 days a week, give yourself a score of 3. If you experience this 5 to 7 days a week, give yourself a score of 4. If you have little interest or pleasure in doing things 5 to 7 days a week, give yourself a 4. If this never happens to you, this does not describe you at all, give yourself a 1. Question 2. I feel down, hopeless, and depressed. I am very uncertain about the future. I feel down, hopeless, and depressed. I am very uncertain about the future. If this happens for 5 to 7 days a week, give yourself a 4. If this happens 3 to 4 days a week, give yourself a 3. If this happens 1 to 2 days a week, give yourself a 2. If you never, ever experience this, give yourself a 1 on question number 2. Write them somewhere. Don't write them on the chat, because I'll ask you for the total. Write them somewhere. I'll be asking you for the total. Question number 3. My sleep has been disturbed. For example, in the last 2 weeks, has your sleep been disturbed? For example, having too little sleep, or you're oversleeping, is too much, or your sleep is broken, it's interrupted. You wake up 1 in the morning, you're up 2 in the morning, or 3 or 4. If this never happens, you sleep soundly for 8 good hours, give yourself a 1. If this has happened in the last 2 weeks, let's say 1 to 2 days a week, give yourself a 2. If you have sleep disruptions 3 to 4 days a week, give yourself a 3. If you experience sleep disruptions and disturbances 5 to 7 days a week, give yourself a score of 4 on item number 3. Question number 4. I feel tired, fatigued, and frustrated, and having little energy. If this never happens, give yourself a 1. If this happens 1 to 2 days a week, give that question a score of 2. If it happens 3 to 4 days a week, a score of 3. The signs of poor work-life balance also look like the effect. It's a catch-20 situation. I'm going to tell you 12 things that will show you have a poor work-life balance. Actually, you are dealing with a high level of depression. Not clinical, but the one bordering clinical, the level 3. But unfortunately, these effects are also the signs that reveal that you have a poor work-life balance. So I'm going to give you 12 of them. After I mention the 12 of them, I'm going to ask you to tell me which areas you are suffering from. So listen carefully, and then I need you to confess and tell me the truth. This is the area I need to work on, or this number you mentioned has affected me. So listen to the 12 of them, and then tell me which one is affecting you. And maybe you're being affected by 3, 4, or 5. So, number 1, irritability. Now listen to all of them before you comment. I'll be asking you to tell me the ones that describe you most. Irritability simply means you are taking offense easily at home. You find yourself messing up with your relationships at home, at work, wherever you are. Number 2, social withdrawal. You go home, you want to lock yourself in the bedroom. You go at work, you don't want to interact with people. When guys are going out for coffee date or coffee break, or lunch break, you just want to be alone. Sometimes you just retreat into your car. You just want some silence all by yourself. You're not in touch with your friends. You hardly call people these days. In fact, a phone call from somebody is actually a bother for you. You hardly want to see even your relatives. Number 3, feelings of inadequacy. You don't feel like you can attempt this business, like you can close this sale. You don't feel like you want to meet this client. And as I said, today I'm talking about both employees and entrepreneurs, both those who are in business and those who are employed, for good reasons, because this is a life-saving mission. Number 4, loss of interest. You're lacking interest with your TV. You're losing interest with exercise. You're losing interest with meals. You're losing interest with vacations, losing interest with outings. You're losing interest in friends. You're losing interest with things that used to excite you. Number 5, erratic sleep habits. This could be oversleeping, which is hypersomnia. This could be lacking sleep. That's insomnia. This could be sleep disruptions. Basically, you don't have 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Sometimes you're having nightmares, weird dreams. You feel like you're being attacked. You're dreaming people attacking you, and you just can't focus. You can't just sleep properly, soundly like a baby. Erratic sleep habits. Number 6, physical symptoms. You're suffering from lower back pains, headaches, migraines, opportunistic illnesses, frequent tonsillitis, high blood pressure. Sometimes your heart is pumping too much. You're having your body weak, general body weakness. Number 7, fatigue and lack of energy. In the morning, you wish it was at night. In the evening, you wish it was in the morning. You don't feel yourself with the drive to do stuff. You feel your body beaten and lacking energy and flavor. Number 8, difficulty thinking clearly, remembering, concentrating, or making decisions. If you're single and you're listening to me, you're suspicious of, if you're a girl, you're suspicious. You can't even decide who to settle with. If you're a guy, you may be settled in your career or in your business, but you're suspicious of women. If you're married, you can't make a decision where to buy a house, where to take your kids to school, whether to go for further studies, which job to pick, whether to leave that job, which business to start, whether to leave that business, which client to meet. You're having even issues concentrating on an activity. You start writing an email, you forget what you are checking, you pick your phone, you're looking for somebody's contacts, but then you forget halfway, and you are forgetting people's names, forgetting stuff, forgetting birthdays for important loved ones, forgetting visiting days for your children in school. Number 9, loss or increased appetite and drastic anxiety. Some people, when they're stressed, they lack appetite. They're not able to eat. Some people, when they're stressed, they overeat. They find comfort and solace in food. And as a result, when people are so stressed, they either lose or gain weight. How did they maintain when they're going through serious stress, which is depression anyway? When you're sad for a long time and moody for a long time, that's what we call depression. Number 10, constant pessimism. You lack hope and faith in the future. You don't believe in the economy of your country anymore. You're not confident about your employer anymore. You are not confident about the industry you operate as an entrepreneur. You feel that like things are falling apart. You're not very optimistic about the future. You feel quite hopeless, so to speak. Number 11, perhaps you're listening to me and you're already using stimulants. Stimulants are things that make you feel high. They are called uppers. These are drugs like Ritalin and crack, cocaine. Or maybe you have become addicted to depressants. These are things that slow you down. We call them downers. Morphine, alcohol. Alcohol makes you slow down. But whiskey is a stimulant. It makes you hyper. But beer, wine, they tend to slow down your activities for a while. Not more than 4 hours. So if you're hiding in beer, just know this. It will only make you forget for 4 hours, and that drunkenness is out. Your problems are still there. Heroin, unfortunately, can have permanent impact in your life. If you are using drugs to cope, you are definitely going through serious depression. And I'm not saying people who take alcohol are depressed. No. I'm talking about people who are dependents. You are depending on alcohol to sleep. You are depending on even prescribed medicine to sleep. You have to take certain medicine to get sleep. Then there is a problem. Number 12, and the last one, recurrent thoughts of death or suicide. This is the extreme. But according to Everyday Health, 66% of all suicides have depression as the root cause. So depression in most cases is what leads to suicide. So I take depression very seriously. In fact, I've done a book on depression, but I'll not talk about it today, called 60 Days to Overcome Depression. It's available in Amazon.com. So I wanna propose some changes you can make at work, because I believe some of the depression levels, especially level 1 and 2, the ones I gave you 4 levels. What I'm sharing with you today can totally heal, because you need to manage your life. As I said, most of the depression in the society, it's a question of our lifestyles. We need to audit our lifestyles. And I'm not exempted, for your information. I'm not exempted from the same things you're going through. For example, maybe you don't know this. 3 hours after this class, I have another training with for a major event that is in Kigali, Rwanda. There is a major conference for sales and marketing directors from all over Africa. They are gathering in Kigali, Rwanda, and I'm the guest speaker. And remember, this is almost 2 a.m. in Atlanta. So there are many things I also try to do, which I'm going to share with you to ensure I don't reach that burnout, because all of us can cross the line.